Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to my review of the Mora 122. Now this knife is for whittling, wood carving, and woodworking. It's got a wooden handle itself and no guard because a guard would get in the way of manipulating the knife, right, for the woodworking. Now the sheath this came with, there you see it, it's kind of a weird sheath because it is extra long for the knife. I'm guessing that they had this sheath for some other model and it just saves them money to include it with this. The blade length is 2 1/4 inches. As you can see, it's a Wharncliffe shape that's popular with whittling knives. The steel on this is listed as laminated carbon steel. Now, Mora is not specific as to which carbon steel or steels the layers are, but a laminated steel, basically, there's one layer of steel in the middle that forms the edge, and it is sandwiched between two other layers of steel. It's a method for making a thin, strong knife with a hard edge. You see this Swiss Army knife whittling book that I have reviewed. We're going to make something from this book. I mean, roughly. You see it has a whole section on wooden knives. You know, some of these are meant as like breakfast utensils, but I'm going to make a wooden knife. The best way to review a carving knife is to actually carve something, I think. Mine is going to look a little more deadly than theirs. Don't send me complaints. Don't be offended. This is for artistic purposes only. Here are some materials that you will need for this project. You will need a small piece of scrap wood like that firewood I have there. You will need a hatchet or large knife to carve the basic outline of the shape that you want to carve, and you'll also need a wood saw such as on that Swiss Army knife just to make stop cuts in the appropriate areas. So you see I have prepared this piece of wood with the hatchet and the saw. Alright, at this point I'm going to roll in about 90 seconds of the actual woodworking. However, this is sped up, so it's actually going to be the first 10 minutes of me carving on this. You're going to see me make the handle and you're going to see me smooth out the blade a bit. Right, and the music that's going to go with this is called Early Bird. It's a free track that YouTube has, and it's basically the most popular music, according to my subscribers, that I've used. So enjoy this clip and we'll be back. And I am back. Okay, so if you remember, this is what we started with. That was the first 10 minutes of the woodwork in that clip, and I continued to smooth out the blade for at least another hour, and I will show you what I came up with, the finished project. Here it is. And there is your wooden knife, or, you could call it a shank. In fact, you could say that I used one shank to make another shank. The shanks are multiplying. I also wrapped the handle in paracord just to make it look better. So there you go. What do you think? I think if cold steel made like a steel knife that was of that shape, I think it would sell well. What do you think? Hey, cold steel, do that up for us, will you? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure they don't care. But yeah, it's actually I guess you could say it's a super deluxe shank. This knife came super sharp, by the way. The Mora knife. This is footage from before I used it to carve. Right when it arrived, I just wanted to document, what the edge could do right out of the box, and this thing is psychotically sharp. It's basically like Dexter, serial killer, psycho dissecting you type sharp, which is a good thing. Good job, Mora. All right, a few more shots of the finished project, and you can just look at these as I continue to talk about the Mora knife. The price of this Mora knife is around $25 on Amazon. Prices are subject to change, but I think that's a really reasonable price. I will include that link, and actually Mora has a whole series of carving knives and tools, so I will actually include links to all of those for all the people that want to get in to the woodworking. Right, but $25, in my mind, that's very reasonable, because let's say that you went up to an artist and you said, hey, could you carve me a wooden knife? How much would they charge? Or maybe not a knife, but any sort of object. Let's say you said, hey, could you carve me like a peace pipe or something, or a little statue of some character to put in your garden or something. How much would they charge you? Well, with this knife, you can just make whatever you want to make. You can make it yourself for free. I mean, with a little practice, a little time, and just some scrap wood, you can make as many little wooden utensils as you would like, right? So it's a tool that makes other tools. You gotta love that. It basically pays for itself if you put in the time. Very well made, like I said, super sharp, way sharper than your standard Moras. You gotta be careful. So yeah, I really like this knife. I highly recommend it. I will include the link. Try to use those links. Do your normal shopping through them. They do support the channel. This has been We All Juggle Knives.